What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new album from Gil Thompson called Palm Readings. Now, Gil Thompson is a rapper who's coming out of Allenstown, Pennsylvania. If you want to find out more about him and check out his music, you already know you can just take a look at the links down below where I got all that information for you. I also reviewed a bunch of his other projects, so you can do a search for Gil Thompson on my channel to see those, because I do think he's an artist who isn't afraid to get personal and take very creative approaches when it comes to his storytelling. Like on this album where we have a song called The Warden, here he's getting very open and honest about personal trauma, and he does it by painting this picture of being trapped in his own personal hell. There's a lot of very dark and vivid imagery happening here. I thought this was just a standout moment as far as doing something different and not telling his story in just a normal, regular way. Really cool track. And My War Changed is one of the immediate standouts as he speaks on how his mother kept him out of the trouble that was going on in the streets, with bars like, "I guess my mother's love shielded my heart from the vivid streets. A purity was in me that the hate around could never deplete." I thought the last verse on this gets especially deep because here he's speaking on how now he's a grown man with a family, which ties into the idea of this song where his war has changed. Before he had these different battles going on when he was out there as a youngin' trying to stay out of the streets and not get caught up in that, but now he's a grown man who's dealing with some family issues, including his mother's battle with cancer, losing lost loved ones, and all those sorts of things. So I thought this was a very cool idea that just spoke on his growth as a person and how even still to this day he's still battling some different things. Very honest track. There's also some dope piano production from Don P on here as well. And on the topic of production, I gotta show love to Dreamlife, who did a lot of the beats on here and absolutely smashed them. So he laced the song called The Job I Needed to Do with this very dreamy backdrop as Gil is spitting about life management while also using wordplay that revolves around traffic and vehicles. Thought that was another cool approach and a very interesting idea. And on the song How Far Can I Go, Dreamlife comes through with this very jazzy joint as Gil is once again speaking on some inspirational life issues, but this time he's using metaphors that have to do with water. For example, he says, "Once you submerge, don't travel far from the surface until you understand your depth and intended purpose. Before you're swimming further and focusing on your next wind, you need to know your limits, how long you can hold your breath in." I just thought his concepts here provided a very refreshing approach to topics that have been done before. We've all heard inspirational shit from people, but this was just a way to cover that topic while doing something a bit different and new. So I do applaud him for that. Then Dreamville also came through on a bunch of other tracks, including You Are Enough and Checker Players, the latter of which has Gil speaking on job politics and how nepotism can get people ahead even if they don't deserve it, just some grown folks content, while the former covers the topic of self-love through some of Gil's personal stories and relationships. There is just absolutely no shortage of content and grown folk rap, like I said, and The Fear to Raise a Man is another great example of this. This is a track where he's speaking on how difficult it is to raise a boy to a man in this world where social media is taking over, things are changing, you want your son to be strong, but you don't want them to feel like they can't be open with their emotions. Like, there's so many different things that go into it. As a father of two boys and a daughter, I absolutely related to what he was saying here, especially when he spit, "It's a pain when you look at your kid and though you'll do anything, it might not be enough. We can't protect them from everything." That shit hits home for me because all you can do is teach your kids the best that you can, be there for them, but you can't always be there, man, and they're bound to fuck up somewhere along the way. I'm sure you fucked up somewhere and your parents had to deal with you. Look at you. You should feel some shame right now. I guess I could too, because I made a lot of mistakes. But anyway, I do like a lot of the content here. But if I have any gripes, it's that his flows can get very repetitive and samey, and at times it can even be a little bit robotic, like on the opening track, Certified and Approved. I was also kind of disappointed with this one because it started off where he was rapping about adopting a child and all the stuff that he went through really was dragging me in, and it felt very personal and open and honest. But then in the end, it kind of threw you a curveball because he's rapping about adopting hip-hop and becoming a part of it, which was a little bit cheesy. Not all the way cheesy, just, I didn't really like that switch on the end. It wasn't the type of switch that made me go, "Oh shit, that's crazy." Made me feel a little bit disappointed. That might just be me, but even still, that was another creative approach. I didn't really like that song too much though, and I think his flows on there were a bit more stiff compared to some of the other tracks. But to move on from that, I still think he is fine as a rapper. I've just heard him spit much harder on past projects. You can go back and check some of my other reviews where I do speak on that. I do like some of his other projects better than this one. he just doesn't really take a lot of chances to mix things up here. I didn't find his vocal styles to be that interesting throughout. I think maybe having some features on here could have helped as well, especially when it comes to the hooks, man. I thought the hooks on this were pretty bad, to be honest. Not trying to be rude or extra negative or anything like that, because I do like a lot of Gil's music, but none of these choruses really stuck in my head. They didn't really stick with me. It almost felt like a lot of these hooks were just some stray bars thrown together rather than an attempt to make something catchy. So maybe having a couple features on the hooks would have helped, or just doing something a little bit different there, because I just felt like the hooks didn't resonate with me more times than they did resonate with me. There might have been a couple on there that were alright, but all in all, you know, I think a good hook is like when you look at the song and the title and then you come back to this album and you're listening to it, you just remember that hook. You're like, oh shit, this is the hook that went like this, or it's stuck in your head, or it's catchy, or you find it like an earworm popping into your head when you're just walking around. I didn't get any of that, so you know, still a really good rapper. I'm not taking that away from him. Some good production, some quality content, but you know, I'm going to go with a 3 out of 5 here. My least favorite track was Palm Readings, because I think this had one of the weaker beats, and topically it's just him kind of spitting some bars, showing off his lyricism. I wasn't really too drawn into that one. And this was close to a 3.5, because like I said, I like the beats, I like the topics, but there just wasn't anything here that was overly unique or exceptional or engaging. Like, he was getting my attention with some of the topics and content and his approaches, but I think just better hooks would have gone a long way. Maybe some well-placed features, mixing his style up a little bit more. I don't know, man. It just didn't hit me as hard as some of his other projects. But a 3 out of 5 is still good, so make sure you check it out for yourself, and then hit me up in the comments section with your thoughts and opinions, because you got to do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.